What's good, guys? It's Kano Man. I wanted to make a UFC 296 video just to basically go over the card, my analysis on a lot of the fights, what went wrong, what went right, what I think about the future for a lot of these fighters because a lot of fights did not go as anticipated for a lot of these fighters. So I just want to kind of break it down. I'll give you my thoughts on it overall. This is just mainly for the main card. I wasn't able to watch the prelims. I was busy. So I heard it was crazy. The prelims were crazy compared to the action that we received from the main cards overall. From the main card overall, I should say. But yeah, I just want to do a quick analysis. I did watch every single fight on the main card and say my thoughts about it. I'm going to be starting with the main event. So if we switch over to here, nice little transition. We're going to start with Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington. Look, this fight, a lot of people were disappointed in. And it makes sense. People were expecting that Colby was going to push the pace a lot more. A lot of people weren't surprised if Leon would take the fight a little slow. We saw that in the second Usman fight. He was a lot more technical. He likes to work off the counter. And he likes to control his own pace of the fight. And we've seen that throughout all of Leon's fights. He doesn't like when the opposing fighter is pushing him and giving heavy pressure and attacking him because he can't maintain the pace. Leon does his best when he could maintain the pace. And for some reason, Colby didn't think about it, clearly. I wasn't sure what Colby's game plan was going to be. A lot of people were expecting a lot of takedowns. A lot of people were expecting for him to maybe tire him out. And so, the fact that Colby took nearly 2 rounds, he tried to do a takedown in the 3rd round, completely failed. A pretty pathetic takedown attempt overall by Colby. I thought, okay, maybe Colby's going to just try to tire out Leon. And I'm thinking to myself, well, Leon's been in a lot of 5-round fights. I get that Colby's known for his cardio and that he's a machine and that he could put the pressure no matter what. But Leon is almost similar when you look at his cardio. I mean, he looked gassed in the first Usman fight because he was fighting in an altitude he wasn't used to. But I'm pretty sure Leon probably learned his lesson and has been, testing different ways and his cardio and his stamina overall and maintaining the best way possible to last longer in fights and be okay with going 5 rounds in total. So the fact that Colby maybe thought about maybe tiring out Leon and then doing a takedown in the 3rd round, it looked very confusing. But I think plain and simply, Colby had no idea how good Leon Edwards is overall as a fighter. Leon is tall. He's really big for a welterweight. 6'2", crazy reach advantage. He has this weird body type because his waist is super thin. He even mentions it, right? People think that he's weak because he has a slim waist. He looks a little skinny, but I mean, this guy is 6'2". He's gonna look a lot leaner than most other welterweights in general. On top of that, his reach is insane. His striking is really good. His takedown defense is some of the best we've seen in the UFC. I mean, we could look at it here. 10 attempts at a takedown. Only landed 2 of them. And I mean, it's not really showing the time control, but what? Colby had maybe less than a minute in total time control when it came to, going against Leon. Maybe 2 minutes maximum. But 80% takedown defense in this fight alone. And on top of that, Leon wanted to show how good he was. And he's like, guess what? I'm going to take you down. He landed the same amount of takedowns with less attempts, 7 less attempts as Colby Covington. Crazy. Crazy. And you may look here, right? It looks deceiving. Oh, it looks like Colby was more aggressive, right? 194 attempts at striking. And 109 shots landed. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I looked at that stat and I'm shocked. I don't think it did not seem like that at all. I don't know what strikes they were counting, but Colby was swinging and missing. He couldn't maintain the distance at all. And Leon just perfectly, I mean, destroyed Colby. People think that, Colby just had an off night. And I think Colby is a decent fighter. He's a good middleweight. There's no reason why he would have this many, championship attempts and championship fights if he was a mediocre fighter, right? Colby is good for a reason. He has beaten the best. He's come up against the best. He's been competitive against the best. And he attributes it to ring rust in his press conference speech, which, sure, that could be a reason. But, what happened to all this confidence you had throughout the, the press conferences and pre-match and all this crap. Like, how are you this confident in yourself and in your abilities, and you can't display them properly? It's because he was afraid. He didn't think Leon was gonna be that fast. He didn't think Leon was gonna be that big. He didn't think it was gonna be that hard to hit Leon in general. Colby was swinging and missing, and Leon just broke him down mentally and physically. Just look at his leg. This image is not really showing it that clearly, but that leg was purple. That leg looked bad. And it's not, I don't really see the calf kick anywhere. I was trying to find a good calf kick photo, and it wasn't really showing how much damage a calf kick had on Colby, but insane. Insane damage to the leg in general. His mid-body. The kicks that Leon was throwing to his body. Bang, bang. Just gunshots. Insane. And look, he was tagging him time to time at the head. Not super cleany, but there was some really good shots there. And I'm surprised Colby didn't drop. Colby's known for taking those hits, dropping, and coming back up. But Colby didn't drop, so, that was interesting to see that Colby was able to withstand those, head strikes, those head hits from Leon. But overall, just, I don't even, people don't realize how beautiful Leon fought in this fight. And he did the most he can with what he was receiving by Colby. Because, like I said, Leon likes to maintain, his, his stamina and his pressure. And he wants to control the pace of the fight overall. And the fact that Colby wasn't really responding properly, it didn't leave Leon much to work with. But the amount of damage Leon was able to ensue on Colby and make him look that bad. I mean, Colby looked horrible. He looked like he didn't belong in there. And look, I was kind of happy, right? Because what Colby said about Leon's father was, horrible. Disrespectful. Just inhumane crap. I don't get the... I like Colby, right? I think I've heard a lot of things about Colby being a nice guy outside of the cage and in the camera. He's trying to play a character. But look, Colby, at this point, you're looking to be staying in the UFC. You're going to be there. You're not going to be cut. You're already kind of a fan favorite for a lot of people because of your crap talking, and you have these funny nicknames like, cum shot. I find it funny, right? I think it's really funny. But this whole Trump persona, which is really corny, really freaking annoying at this point. At this point, it's making Americans look bad. We're losing against the Brits, and we have dumbasses like Colby, sometimes even Sean. Sean runs his mouth like an idiot, just representing America. And it's just so, this is like a different rant that I'm making at this point, but it's just so dumb. It's losing its credibility. It's, it's making him look like a bad fighter. And especially that post-fight, interview that he had with Joe Rogan and, just glazing Donald Trump. And then the post-fight press conference, just him just, saying that he won 3, 4, and 5 and thinking he won the fight. It's, the novelty's wearing out for Colby at this point. It's a bit rough. I don't know how you could be a Colby fan after this. One, disrespecting family, which it's crazy because American values deals with respecting family and each other, and this guy is just talking crap about one's family, and especially Leon's mom had to raise him as a single mother when Leon was just 13, and look at him now, he's a champion. So it's respectful to Leon's mother, Leon in general, their family, and all that crap. And like I said, this is completely different from the fight overall, but I'm just really disappointed in Covington. I think I would love to see a switch in persona. I know people are going to call him fake, but I mean, it's already out. People already know that Colby's a nice guy outside of the cage. So are we going to be shocked if Colby's nice all of a sudden? No, because that's what Usman said. That's what everybody said. So why are we not, why has he not changed persona at this point and stop being a Trump glazer? And, if you like Trump, sure, just stick with it. If you like America, stick with it. That's fine. But stop glazing Trump and making it your persona. And you're making Trump look bad. At this point, Trump's going to lose the election because he's got losers supporting him. So, I mean, let's be real here. Disappointing result from Colby. And this is just some of the highlights, man. I mean, just look at this. Body kick. Body kicks. Those body kicks were destroying Colby. That leg kick. Bruising his quad, his hamstring. Again. Right there. What I would notice is that Leon was doing something interesting in the beginning of the fight. He was switching stances a lot. He was scaring Colby. He started noticing as Colby was backing forward and him switching stances, he's like, oh, this guy's scared. He did not expect me to look this big and just, have this reach advantage and all this crap. And so the minute that I saw Leon switching stances and Colby backing up, I was like, this does not look good for Colby. It doesn't look good for Colby. And Leon was switching stances just because he was trying to intimidate him and not let him read him. Colby was switching stances because his legs were dying. I mean, look right here. Colby takes him down. Leon gets right back up. Boom. Head kick. Just missed. Just missed the temple. Beautiful takedown by Leon. Insane. Wow. If this... Man, I would have gone crazy if this landed. If this guillotine... I think this is a guillotine, right? This is considered a guillotine. If this... Or is this a dark stroke? No, it's not a dark stroke. It's a guillotine. If this guillotine worked out and Leon submitted Colby... I don't know if Colby... what Colby could do. Colby's lucky that this went to decision, honestly. Because Leon had some really good submission attempts. I mean, Colby did well here, spinning out of it. It looked really tight. I was thinking it was done. I don't know how Colby got out of it, but crazy right there. Boom, nice little left hand. Another takedown attempt. He was ragdolling him. He made him look like he didn't belong there. Overall, like, props to Leon and his team. What's next for him, I don't know. A lot of people want Bilal. It's crazy because, you know, the UFC, right? The UFC is a business first. They're business first, right? They're in the fight game. The fight game is a business. And, you know, Leon is a big prospect. He's number 4 pound for pound. Number 4 pound for pound fighter in the world. To have a fighter like that be on a co-main event, it doesn't make any sense. It's just dumb for the UFC. It's dumb. It makes no sense. Unless they're going to put it on a card like UFC 300 or UFC 350 or, you know, one of those types of cards, then sure. You know, you can maybe put Leon a co-main event behind the heavyweight or light heavyweight championship. But, you know, the UFC know that if they do Bilal Leon as a main event, that crap ain't selling. It is not selling. Unless it has the best main card in UFC history, that crap is not selling. And they just saw this performance that Covington brought and how boring it was. You know, Bilal's fight against Gilbert was not super fun, was not super convincing. Bilal hasn't fun. I think Bilal's, his last 3-4 fights, he's finished maybe once or twice. You know, all of them have gone to decision. I'm not saying Bilal's a good fighter, but Bilal's just not entertaining. And if you're going to put the number 4 pound for pound welterweight champion of the world up against them, you want it to be an exciting fight, especially if it's a main event fight. So the UFC have to really figure out what they're going to do with Bilal. And even Dana, you know, he was the backup. Bilal was the backup. And even Dana's like, yeah, I don't know if Bilal is going to be the next one up. And it's like, well, why was he backup then? A lot of people want Shavkat. I think Shavkat's really cool, interesting. And we'll go into Shavkat's performance the next, you know, it was on the Spain card. So we'll go into that performance later. Shavkat would be very interesting. Not Colby, sorry. But Leon was interested in that fight possibly. It's a lot of people. Islam for sure. I think Islam's probably going to fight Gaethje in UFC 300. That's my guess. That's one of the fights. I think Gaethje and Islam will be there. And in UFC 300 or UFC 299. I heard maybe it might be in Miami. But who knows? That's all contingent based on Islam. But maybe Islam might go up to 170. He's talked about that a lot as well. Man, 170 looks interesting because there's a lot of decent contenders, but it's been kind of held up. I mean, the Ian Gary injury and, you know, not injury, but him getting sick, so he can't fight Vicente, and, you know, question marks on Bilal, and is Usman going to fight again at 185 or 170? A lot of questions about this 170 division overall, and there's a good amount of fights to make, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I figure... the UFC will figure it out. They'll see what Leon wants to do. When's his next fight? They'll offer it to maybe Bilal and some other guys. And that's the future of 170 overall. And I think I want to make one more note too, to just people overall. If you're gonna watch UFC, and you want like action, you know, don't watch the main card. Like, watch the prelims. You know, because the prelims, everybody has something to fight for in the prelims. They want that crazy knockout, crazy submission, crazy decision. That's what the prelims is going to get you. If you want people like to be destroying people and absolutely obliterating them, you got to watch the prelims. In the main card, when you get to the main event, co-main event, there's too much to lose. Too much to lose. You know, you're already at the peak, right? If you're the champion, you can't go past the peak. So you have way more to lose than the gain if you lose the fight. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna play it smart. They're gonna play it smart, and at times it's gonna be very boring but very technical. I mean, this Leon Edwards Colby Covington fight, maybe I found it exciting because I really didn't want Leon to win. I didn't want Colby to win, so I was just like really engaged with it, you know. And I was nervous. I had butterflies in my stomach. I'm like, man, I can't even imagine a Colby's champion. Like, this is gonna suck. I really want Leon to win. So, you know, that nervousness when it kicked in, I was like, oh crap, maybe, you know, that's why I felt super interested in the fight, even though maybe to a lot of other people it's boring. But if you don't want boring fights, don't watch the main card or just watch the prelims. You'll get all your entertainment there. I heard this prelims were crazy. So you get all your entertainment there, and then you go to the main card and it's a bit more tame because there's a lot more at risk. These are ranked fighters that have everything to lose and barely anything to win, especially the main event and co-main event. You know, unless the title's up for grabs, you know, if it's like an interim fight, then yeah, like there's a lot to gain. But if it's a championship fight, you know, both fighters, they have a lot to lose here. They lose to the champion, like Colby. Colby loses to the champion, like Leon, really badly. Who knows when Colby's going to get another opportunity, especially if he gets knocked out or submitted. You know, it's one thing for it to go to decision and be a war and, oh, maybe Colby looks really good. We'll give him a rematch. Then for, you know, Colby to get knocked out clean, and it's like, yeah, who's next? And Leon, I mean, Leon doesn't want to lose his championship. He won what? 11 times in a row? Or 10 times in a row before he got his title shot. So that one loss, I mean, who knows when he's getting a next title shot. So I think, yeah, people got to really understand that there's a lot at stake in these main cards and these main events. And that at times it's going to be boring. You got to suck it up. And it is what it is. So I've talked a lot about this fight. But just, you know, like I said, long analysis, but I really wanted to talk about it. We'll go to Pantoja and Brandon Royval. Man, oh man. Insane. By the way, I just realized this. I'm a bit of an idiot. It turns out, I guess these strikes aren't against that opponent, right? That's what I'm assuming, because you can't tell me that Royval hit 281 times against Pantoja. Might be reading this wrong. Let me look at this fight. No way. Royval had 281 strikes? Really? Man, I don't know. What? That's crazy. Wow. Okay. Anyways, you know, this fight, like I said, if you look at the stats, well, it's like, you know, the Colby Leon fight, I guess. I mean, it's crazy. I did not know Royval had a lot of shots, especially when he was on the ground. It was funny because, you know, Royval was doing very well when he was on his back. Pantoja had struggled a little bit to get full mount. He was on half guard most of the time. And because he was on half guard and trying to transition to full guard, you know, Royval was just like throwing some, you know, mean elbows and punches to Pantoja. But, bro, like this fight, you know, people call it boring. And I get it. But I think people have to care about, you know, maybe because I'm a fight fan, right? But how good is Pantoja? How good is Pantoja? This guy, man, he ragdolled Royval. Like, showed him who's boss. Absolutely destroyed Royval. Honestly. You know, so many of those rounds, if there was just only maybe some more damage, like 2-3 of those rounds could have been 10-8s. They're all 10-9s because, you know, it wasn't like Royval got knocked down or if Royval looked to be dizzy. Only once. I think Royval got dizzy once. But other than that, like, a lot of these rounds were like easy 10-9s and possibly 10-8s. It's just, Pantoja is just so good. And especially, you know, I don't really look at the flyweight division too much, but, you know, that fight with Brandon Moreno just, like, cemented, like, this new respect I have for Pantoja. Because his story is inspiring. You know, clearly, if I'm not mistaken, he grew up with a single mother. His father left him. You know, post-fight speech, super powerful, saying, "Dad, are you proud of me now?" You know, that shit gives you goosebumps. Not crap. That shit gives you goosebumps, bro. It's crazy. Um, and on top of that, just the shots that he was taking from Moreno, and Moreno, he's knocked out guys, he's submitted guys, he's knocked down guys, and Pantoja was just eating them in that fight, eating them, and not even just eating them, but throwing back even harder, even harder. And people say that that Moreno fight was very close and it was controversial. I thought Pantoja did win 3-2 very convincingly. There was 3 rounds that Pantoja clearly won. The other 2, yeah, probably Moreno won. But I knew that after seeing that fight, it's like, who's gonna beat this guy? Like Demetrius Johnson, maybe. Like, I don't know what other flyweight could be Pantoja. And a lot of people thought Royval would be him because Royval, great striker, super big for the division. Bro, like 125, 5'9". I don't know how he makes weight, but he does. And he has a crazy reach advantage. But, and Royval was tagging him Pantoja a lot, but you're going to need like a sledgehammer to knock down Pantoja. And I mean, we look here. Look at this knee. Bro. That knee knocks down heavyweights, light heavyweights, welterweights, middleweights. That knee could kill somebody. And Pantoja's like, come to me. Like, bro, like, I can't even, I don't know what's wrong with his head. If it's made out of titanium. This guy's crazy. Pantoja's crazy. And, we already saw that in the Moreno fight, clearly. But, I think, yeah, the next fight for Pantoja is definitely going to be either Moreno or I forgot the other guy's name. I just saw it earlier in the press conference. But, it'd be interesting to see who wins that fight. If Moreno, could come back. Moreno, I don't think he's had a successful title defense, unfortunately. When he's won the title, he's lost it. So, this means a lot for Moreno to get it back. And he really wants to. I would love to see Pantoja in like a bantamweight bout, 135, because he's that good. He's too small. But but after seeing what he did to Royval, and look, I don't think Royval is as good as O'Malley, because O'Malley's very tall. I think O'Malley's 5'9", 5'10". So it's like, if Pantoja was able to do this to Royval at that frame, could he do that to O'Malley possibly, in bantamweight? And so that's what I like to see. I like to see if Pantoja, if he does very well in his next fight, either against Moreno or the other guy, then it's gonna be a super interesting thing to see what Pantoja does. It's tough to be the best flyweight of all time because you already got Demetrius Johnson, but you could really separate yourself if you go up the division to 135, try to get that belt, and then cement yourself as one of the greatest of all time. Because at that frame, moving to bantamweight also, like, super crazy. Pantoja does that. But full respect to him. I mean, just hell of a chin. Royval did his best, but Pantoja too good. Those are our 2 title fights. And then let's go to our, the 3 other cards in the main event. 3 other fights in the main card, I should say, for the main event. I can't even talk, sorry. Shavkat versus Stephen Thompson. Like, this fight sucked, bro. This fight was boring. I'll admit, this fight was boring. Especially in the first round. It was boring. Shavkat got him in a good tie clinch, really good clinches, throwing some nice strikes, not letting Stephen Thompson, Wonder Boy, get that distance. That's what Thompson thrives out. That karate stance allows him to throw kicks to either the body or the legs, get that distance so that he could, throw more strikes and prevent takedowns overall. But Shavkat, he is a bit of a weight bully. That's not even a question. Like Leon, he's a bit of a weight bully. So he's really freaking big for the weight class. And, he made Wonder Boy look easy. And I get it. Wonder Boy's 40 years old. But, he came off a win against Kevin Holland. He, looks good. He looks strong still. He looks like he's there mentally as well. So it sucked that I wish we had more stand up in this fight to see what Shavkat could do against a more kickboxing heavy fight overall, and coming up against a really good opponent, a kickboxing champion himself, Wonder Boy Stephen Thompson. So, but it couldn't happen. It couldn't happen, and it sucked because I really did want to see a more exciting fight. It was pretty boring, to say the least. But Shavkat got the finish. 18 wins, 18 finishes. Probably the scariest fighter in the division right now. I don't know who's stopping him. I don't even think Leon could stop this guy. I don't know how you're going to counter this guy because this guy is way too strong, way too big. Man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. 170 is really interesting. It's a really interesting division. There's so many fights that could happen. A lot of guys are just getting old at this point, so we need some new faces like Ian Gary and, you know, everybody else at 170. So we'll see. But yeah, big one for Shavkat. Disappointing for Stephen Thompson. Maybe he should retire. I don't know. But good fight for Shavkat. For Shavkat. Boring for the fans, but good fight for Shavkat. And probably the saddest fight of the night. Because particularly for me, you know, I didn't like how Patty was against Jaron Gordon when he was just cocky. Not like he strolled through him and he beat him, and it's like, Patty, bro, I'm sorry, but you, like, Gordon probably won that fight and he probably got robbed. You know, and maybe, yeah, you could have maybe won in some people's eyes, but you strolled through Gordon? No. And I think that cockiness really ruined his image. And this fight, he's like, I gotta prove a point. And he freaking did so. Unfortunately, the third round, he looked gassed. He looked gassed. And if it was any other fighter than Tony Ferguson, Patty could have been finished in that third round. That's how bad Patty looked. I say that, but Patty had a fantastic takedown. Fantastic takedown in that third round. That just sealed the deal. Completely sealed the deal. And, you know, I don't know what Tony was doing in that third round when he gave, you know, he gave his position. He was standing up. That was probably his best chance to knock out Patty because he lost the first 2 rounds. And he just stayed on the floor and he wanted to do jiu-jitsu and maybe get a triangle or something. And it's like, what is Tony doing? What is Tony doing? And look, bro, if Tony, you know, if Goggins can't save you, if Goggins can't save you, I don't know what could save Tony Ferguson. And it's sad to see his fall from grace. I saw this interesting clip of Khabib. He said, you know, after that Gaethje fight that Tony had, and he was getting obliterated. I mean, he was throwing some good punches, but he was getting obliterated by Justin. And, you know, Justin threw that one punch, and then, you know, Tony just goes like shaking, like his face is swollen, his nose is bloody, he can barely see. And Khabib's like, you're not gonna be the same after that fight. You never will be. As much as you want to change your mentality after that fight, and your body mentally giving up. Your body mentally giving up. You take that punch and your body just like shuts down. It's like your body's like, I didn't like that. You know how sometimes you could control your mind a little bit, like you get punched. Like I guess some of these fighters, right? They get punched and they feel wobbly, but then they're controlling their mind. They're like, no, stay up. But Tony gave up. His body gave up. His body's like, I didn't like that. And he shook his head. They stopped the fight, and you know, we haven't seen the same Tony since. We haven't seen the same Tony since. He's lost all of his fights since then. And it's just sad to see. And we had to be fair to Tony, right? Because his last few fights have been against serious contenders. You're talking about Michael Chandler, you're talking about Paddy Pimblett. I mean, you're talking about really good fighters that Tony's coming up against. These aren't bums or anything like that. But you know, at the end of the day, if, you know, Tony's fighting for a reason. He's fighting to come back into contention. So he has to fight these really good fighters. And, you know, if he wants to fight again, like, who is he going to fight that's, you know, and, you know, Paddy, he's still not even, like, in contention. He's nowhere near the light heavyweight title. Nowhere near top 10, arguably. So what's Tony going to do? Like, fight somebody less ranked than Paddy? What's the point? And so I only really do see Tony retiring after this. And, you know, him retiring as a legend. And if he gets some sort of, the UFC will, let him do like maybe some jiu-jitsu competitions. He'll make some money there. He could do some coaching. He's a personality, to say the least. I mean, a lot of people like Tony Ferguson because of his, no bullshit personality. But he's getting older. He's taking more damage. We're seeing, a fall from grace. And I would like to see Tony finish as high as he can, say the least. Now, this is going to be a horrible transition because I'm going to be now going to why Paddy looked so freaking good this fight. Not to mention, his grappling was very good. I did not know Paddy could grapple that like that. I heard that he has a black belt in jiu-jitsu, which is really interesting. I did not expect that from Paddy. So respect to Paddy. He could really grapple. And, Tony's not a joke. Tony, yeah, he's old, but Tony, he's gotten submissions. He's nasty on the ground, right? So Paddy looked really good on the ground. Looked really good in controlling and transitioning and hand movements and everything. Paddy looked really good. And the striking, bro. Oof. And then this flying knee was perfect. I mean, oh my. Look. On the ground. Takes him down. Some ground and pound there. Oof. I mean, I don't know how Tony's taking this. Wow. Insane from Paddy. Insane from Paddy. I gotta give all my respect for Paddy. I think what Paddy needs to figure out now is his cardio. And I don't know if that has to do with his massive weight loss before the fights, where he eats like pizza and look, bro, I get it, bro. I like freaking eating food and all that. But if he really doesn't want to make it that far in the UFC and grow his image a lot more, he's gonna be taking bigger fights. This is his biggest fight to date, and his next fight's gonna be against a top 10 opponent. So he's got to really be taking it more seriously. And if he decides to have a championship run and go to like a main event, and it'll be a 5-round fight, you can't be getting gassed. He can't be, he can't be doing that. And if him getting gassed has to do with him losing weight quickly and he can't really manage his cardio properly, then he has to figure that out. He has to take it more seriously. Because that third round he looked very. He got lucky that Tony didn't look that good. He beat up Tony so badly that Tony couldn't really do anything in the third round. And Tony had a weird tactic of giving up his back. I mean, not, just dropping to the floor and do jiu-jitsu instead of fighting on the ground. Like, I don't know what Tony was thinking. But yeah, Paddy looked really good on the ground. Grappling was fantastic. Striking was impeccable. We saw that from the clip there. This is a good redemption story for Paddy. He's gained my respect. I didn't think, I had this weird feeling that maybe Tony could have won this fight because Paddy had a lot at stake here. Really, his career was at stake at this point. Because if you lose to Tony Ferguson, and I feel like that could mentally affect the fighter. But, Paddy went in there. He's like, look, I respect Tony, but I'm better than Tony. This is my time. This is my era. And he showed that clearly. So respect to Paddy overall. And I hope Tony retires. And this fight, I can't really talk about much else. Josh Emmett, Bryce Mitchell. I think the only thing I could say is, how was Bryce Mitchell the favorite in this fight? How was Bryce Mitchell the favorite? Completely disrespectful to Josh Emmett. I mean, why? Why was he the favorite? I get that Bryce Mitchell's ranked higher, but Bryce Mitchell, he recently fought for the interim belt at featherweight, and he lost to a very good opponent in Yair. Did Josh look good in that fight? Not really, but are you gonna disrespect him because Bryce Mitchell's ranked higher and I don't get it. I get that Bryce Mitchell has a lot more advantages, but it's not like Bryce Mitchell's anything super special, like super crazy, and that Josh Emmett isn't. And I think Josh Emmett's a great fighter. And that was like an easy lock. Like betting on Josh Emmett, like just to win overall. Like, I don't know why people want to have bet that. And, Bryce Mitchell was a favorite. So if you bet that, that's awesome because that's a smart thing to do. That was a crazy line for the betting companies to put out there. It's got to be bait, right? It had to have been like, oh, you do a parlay and you put Josh Emmett to win and then you do like a Tony Ferguson win and it'll be like a plus 1,000, plus 5,000 payout, and you'd be going crazy. Maybe that's why. But there's nothing more to say than this. Bang. Clean. Clean. You want to go like a little slow-mo. See, I could go slow-mo, right? So ducks down and then overhand right. It doesn't even hit cleanly, but it hits right on the nose and then it just droops down. Like that power, just like, lights out. Lights out. Scary, right? Because obviously, Bryce was kind of convulsing and he didn't look that good after that. But yeah. Congrats to Josh Emmett. Probably back in the top 5 for featherweight after that win. Big win against Bryce. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna affect Bryce that much because he did come short notice. It's just a really bad knockout and it's really scary. He's a sweet guy. He's a bit crazy. He's a bit of a lunatic sometimes, and he knows that. But you never want somebody to lose their career after a knockout like that. And I'm pretty sure he's fine now. He posted a video saying he's fine. So, respect to Josh Emmett coming back into contention, and respect to Bryce Mitchell taking it last minute and feeling better and all that. And yeah, I mean, that was just UFC 296. Overall analysis of what I thought about every single fight in the main card, specifically what I think about everybody else. But I mean, more importantly, what do you guys think about what's gonna happen? What do you think about 297? What do you think about Duplessis and Strickland? I would not be surprised if Duplessis win against Strickland. Duplessis looks to be in Strickland's hand already, and I did not think Strickland was this emotional, and it gets to him. It really is getting to him. And we saw the little brawl they had last night. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how that fight goes. Bit of a crappy card. I'm not gonna lie. The card did not look that good when I saw it last night. But hopefully, it's an underrated card and it brings a lot of bangers. But that main event's really gonna save it. I hope it does. It's gonna be a really interesting main event. But like I said, let me know what do you think about what I said about 296. What do you think is gonna happen to Colby? Is he still really annoying? And that what's gonna happen with him next? Who's Leon gonna fight next? Is she's gonna fight Shavkat? Is he gonna I don't know, maybe fight Bilal? What's gonna happen with Tony? What's gonna happen with Patty? Just let me know. Let me know. That's my analysis. I appreciate you guys for watching.